There didn't seem to be any discussion among the crowd this month at the Western and Southern Open in Ohio. GOAT cries were shouted from the stands. There were also banners that read GOAT for Serena Williams. So the big question, is she the real GOAT? Let's take a look at her career stats and debate about if she really is on top. First up, is tennis superstar Serena Williams the real tennis GOAT? Let's take a look at some stats. Serena Williams has to be, without a doubt, one of the greatest tennis players in history. Depending on how you define success, you can decide whether she's the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Can we state with certainty that Serena is the GOAT? Well, let's take a look at her career and her stats. Comparing players across periods is challenging enough, but the Open era, which began in 1968, serves as a useful boundary. Let's start by limiting it to the titles that came after that. Now, so much has been said about Serena Williams' attempt to surpass Margaret Court's total of 24 major championships. So first we must examine the dates on which they won their crowns. Court won her championships between 1960 and 1973, primarily before professionals were permitted to compete in the majors. Comparing players across periods is challenging enough, but the Open era, which began in 1968, serves as a useful boundary. Let's start by limiting it to the titles that came after that. Williams moves further ahead with her 4 gold medals when we include Olympic crowns. Williams won 3 Olympic doubles titles with her sister Venus, so if we're going to count those in with the gold medals, we should also count the major championships. Serena Williams currently has the longest winning streak of any athlete according to this metric, going 18 years between her first and final major victory. With 17 years, Rafael Nadal has the second longest score. As you can see, no one has been able to equal Williams' 18-year winning streak from the 1999 US Open to the 2017 Australian Open, even with Nadal 2005 to 2022 and Djokovic 2008 to 2022 still winning slams on a consistent basis. Venus's winning peak 2000 to 2008 is the shortest of anyone on these lists, but even if the duration between major finals is included, it's still a double Williams win, with the first and last deciders for both sisters occurring 20 years apart. Next, while it may be impolite to discuss money, it offers another interesting perspective on Williams' career. Williams' on-court earnings are comparable to those of her male counterparts, and tennis, relatively speaking, has a good track record of recently offering equal prize money at big tournaments. The 73-time champion is actually second only to the Big Three, which includes Roger Federer, 103 titles, Rafael Nadal, 92, and lastly, Novak Djokovic at 88 in terms of prize money won. Pretty impressive on Williams' part. Additionally, she constantly earns more than any other female athlete in the world and was the only one of them to appear on Forbes' list of the richest athletes of the 2010s at $310 million at the time. Williams was 31st among the highest-paid athletes according to Forbes in 2021, despite not appearing in any finals. Her earnings from tennis were just about $300,000, but she made $45 million off the court. Tiger Woods, $40,000 and $68 million, and Roger Federer, $700,000 and $90 million. 2 other GOAT hopefuls in the latter stages of their careers have comparable splits. The truth is that Williams' magnificence cannot be fully captured by just statistics. Her legacy is connected to the whole picture, including race, gender, and overall influence in and outside of the sport. Although it's debatable if she truly is the GOAT, it seems like the majority thinks that she is, and we can't argue with that. Speaking of tennis, Nick Kyrgios has officially been taken out of the running for the US Open champion. After being defeated by Karen Khachanov in a thrilling US Open quarterfinal on Wednesday, Nick Kyrgios' bid for a first Grand Slam victory came to an end. The Russian won in 5 sets, 7-5, 4-6, 7-5, 6-7, after playing outstandingly in the vital stages. After dropping the first set, Kyrgios was struggling and called for a doctor, appearing to be dealing with a minor leg injury. However, Kyrgios overcame his injury worries by persevering through pain and winning the second set to tie the match. Khachanov, however, immediately repaid the favor by winning the third set and advancing by 1 set to the semifinals. Then Kyrgios struck back, raising his game late in the 4th set to win the tiebreak and force a final set. But even though Kyrgios had the benefit of serving first in the 5th set, he was broken right away and never recovered. It was a classic Kyrgios performance in which he frequently let go at his coach's box and relied heavily on his powerful serve. But to be fair, he only had himself to blame for missing out on crucial chances to gain the upper hand by making a lot of mistakes. In the second set, Kyrgios gave Khachanov a break by making 2 dubious serve and volley efforts, and then, with a double fault, he promptly gave his opponent a break back. As one of the favorites to win the US Open after eliminating world number 1 Daniil Medvedev in the 4th round while Rafael Nadal, Dominic Thiem, and Stefanos Tsitsipas lost earlier in the competition, Kyrgios' performance performance is extremely disappointing. After the match, the Australian was enraged and threw a major tantrum, destroying 2 rackets on the court out of despair. Next up, a much-needed update about Roger Federer and when he'll be back on the court. In what was intended to be his comeback to tennis after more than a year away, Roger Federer is allegedly in serious question for the Laver Cup later this month. The 41-year-old winner hasn't competed since 2021 when he suffered a 4th-round defeat at Wimbledon after a 3rd knee operation. The 20-time Grand Slam champion has been gradually regaining his fitness and is anticipated to compete for Team Europe at the Laver Cup on September 23rd, alongside Rafa Nadal, Novak Djokovic, and Andy Murray. Federer, though, is very unlikely to play owing to fluid on his knee and discomfort, according to reports from Switzerland. According to the competition's rules, if he decides to compete, he must play at least 1 singles match and 1 doubles match. Federer's absence from the tournament would be a significant setback for the organizers, as fans would be eager to watch the Swiss icon compete against his fierce rivals Nadal, Djokovic, and Murray. The Big Four will play together on the same team for the first time at the Laver Cup, but there are also concerns over Rafael Nadal's participation. The Spaniard stated he wasn't sure when he would return to the court after his defeat in the 4th round of the US Open. Nadal claimed he had to prioritize his personal life because of his wife Ziska, who was recently hospitalized in Spain and was about to give birth to their first child any day. "I have to attend to more important matters than tennis right now. Therefore, I have to go home," he remarked. The news that Federer would be forced to skip the Laver Cup devastated tennis fans. And finally, Novak Djokovic has released a sad announcement. Here's what you need to know. With personal reasons, Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from Serbia's next Davis Cup group stage matches. The 21-time Grand Slam champion, who was ineligible to compete at the US Open due to his lack of immunizations, was scheduled to go to Spain for his nation's Davis Cup group stage matches. In the team's competition, Serbia is scheduled to compete against Spain, Korea, and Canada, but it has been made clear that Djokovic won't be there. Djokovic notified the Serbian team of his decision, according to captain Viktor Troicki. Therefore, the 35-year-old will not be leading the group as they seek to repeat their amazing victory in the competition in 2010. Due to personal obligations, Djokovic won't be playing, Troicki added. Shortly after this announcement, fans soon observed the 21-time major winner wearing a bandage on his left wrist. Tennis fans were upset by the news on social media, and many of them hoped he wasn't hurt in any way. Furthermore, after winning his 21st Grand Slam title at Wimbledon, Djokovic acknowledged that 2022 had been a challenging year, but he believed that he still had plenty of time remaining in his career to set and break more records. "Well, this year hasn't exactly been like last year. I mean, it began the way it did, and in the first few months of the year, it clearly had an impact on me. In general, I wasn't feeling well. I wasn't in a good place psychologically or emotionally," he added. He was denied entry to the US Open, missed ATP 1000 tournaments in Montreal and Cincinnati leading up to the year's last Grand Slam, and has just dropped from number 1 to number 6 in the world rankings. The Laver Cup, which takes place in September, will be Djokovic's next competition. He'll compete for Team Europe alongside Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Andy Murray. But what do you think? Will Djokovic ever be able to return to the level of tennis he was playing before the pandemic and rules were set? Will he want to return? Only time will tell. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about Serena Williams' career based on her stats, whether she is the real GOAT. Now, make sure to let us know your thoughts down below, and as always, thanks for watching.